Hey guys, tonight we're delving into the life of someone who just tasted liberty after years of servitude, a freed slave in ancient Rome. You've likely seen them in movies, perhaps as background characters gratefully accepting their newfound freedom. But trust me, being a real freed slave was nothing like a cinematic moment of instant joy. It was a complex, precarious existence filled with challenges and subtle chains. And in most cases, it absolutely sucked in ways you might not expect. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And let me know in the comments where you're tuning in from and what time it is for you. It's always fascinating to see who's joining us from around the world. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. Imagine you've drifted into a deep slumber, only to awaken not in your bed, but in a small, unfamiliar room in ancient Rome. The year is 110 AD. You are no longer a slave. You possess a libertas, a freedom document. But with this freedom comes a whole new set of trials, unspoken rules, and the daily grind of carving out a place for yourself in a world that still sees you as less than equal. No longer defined by a master's whip, you now face the subtle sting of societal prejudice, the gnawing uncertainty of earning your own bread, and the daunting task of forging a new identity from the ashes of your past. Your calloused hands, once forced into labor, are now your own to guide. The question is, where will they lead you in this vast, vibrant, and often unforgiving city? The first rays of dawn filter through the small, high window of your insular room, painting a pale rectangle on the bare stone floor. You wake slowly, every muscle protesting after years of forced labor. But today, something is different. There's a lightness in your chest, a quiet sense of possibility that wasn't there yesterday. You are free. No more waking to the sound of the overseer's horn, no more immediate fear of the lash. The room itself is meager. A single chamber in a multi-story apartment building, or insula, catering to Rome's lower classes. The walls are thin, allowing every sound of the awakening city to seep in. The rumble of carts on cobblestone streets, the hawkers beginning to shout their wares, the clatter of metal from a nearby smithy, and the ever-present murmur of thousands of voices blending into a constant hum. This isn't the sterile silence of the countryside or the hushed tones of a wealthy villa. This is the vibrant chaos of Rome, and you are now a part of it, not as property, but as a person. You sit up on your straw-filled mattress, the coarse fabric scratching against your skin. The air is cool, carrying the scent of wood smoke from the public bakeries and a faint, lingering odor of the Tiber River. Stretching, you feel the familiar aches in your shoulders and back, a legacy of years spent toiling under the sun. But now these aches are different. They are a reminder of what you have survived, not a prediction of tomorrow's suffering. You swing your legs over the side of the bed, your bare feet landing on the cold stone floor. The chill travels up your spine, a sharp reminder of the reality of your situation. Freedom doesn't come with comfort, it comes with responsibility. You are alone now, responsible for your own survival. You need to find work, food, and security. But for the first time, these are your problems to solve, your challenges to overcome. No one will dictate your path. The choices and the consequences are yours. Looking around the small space, you take stock of your possessions. A simple wooden chest holds your few belongings, a spare tunic, a worn cloak, a small knife, and the precious libertas that grants you your freedom. This document, carefully inscribed on papyrus, is your most valuable possession, the key to your new life. You reach for it, unfolding it carefully, running your fingers over the official seal. It feels real, tangible, solidifying the reality of your newfound status. Even the light seems different this morning, brighter, more hopeful. You stand, take a deep breath, and step out of your small room and into the bustling world of a free Roman, ready to face whatever the day may bring. The the sounds of the street vendors already a siren song and a promise. Historians debate the true economic opportunities available to freed slaves. While some managed to amass considerable wealth, the majority faced limited options and continued to struggle on the margins of society. One common belief was that freed slaves were particularly skilled in business and trade, a reflection of their resourcefulness and adaptability. The first step toward your uncertain future is breakfast. You approach the small brazier in the corner of your room, the cool morning air heightening the scent of soot clinging to the stone. You carefully arrange a few pieces of charcoal from your meager store, coaxing a flame to life with a bit of oil-soaked rag. The flickering light dances across the walls, illuminating the simple clay pot you'll use for cooking your stomach rumbles, a familiar sensation from years of meager rations. But today, the hunger feels different. It's not the dull ache of deprivation, but the sharper pang of anticipation. No longer forced to accept whatever slop is offered, you have the freedom to choose, however limited that choice may be. From your small chest, you retrieve a handful of dried chickpeas and a small piece of hard cheese purchases made yesterday with the few asses you managed to squirrel away from your last days of enslavement, hidden from the overseer's gaze. The chickpeas are wrinkled and dusty, but they represent sustenance, independence. The cheese, though small, offers a richness and flavor you haven't tasted in years. You pour water from a clay jug into the pot, the cool liquid gurgling softly. As the water heats, you toss in the chickpeas, watching as they slowly soften and plumpen. The aroma is earthy and comforting, a simple pleasure that fills the small room. You grate a bit of the cheese, saving most of it for later, and add it to the simmering chickpeas. The cheese melts quickly, enriching the broth with a salty, savory flavor. While you wait, you take a moment to reflect on the meals of your past. The endless bowls of thin porridge, barely flavored, eaten in silence under the watchful eyes of your master's household. The stale bread, often moldy, grudgingly offered as sustenance for a day of back-breaking labor. The rare scraps of meat fought over and devoured in seconds. Today you eat alone in silence, but the meal is different. It is yours. You earned it, you prepared it, and you will savor every bite. Once the chickpeas are soft, you carefully pour the mixture into a wooden bowl, the warm steam rising to your face. You take a tentative sip, the flavor simple but satisfying. The earthy chickpeas, the salty cheese, the warm water. It's a humble meal, but it represents so much more. It's a taste of freedom, a symbol of your newfound independence. As you eat, slowly and deliberately, you consider your options for the day. You need to find work, and quickly. Your small store of coins won't last long, and the insula's rent is due soon. You decide to head to the labor exchange near the Forum, a bustling marketplace where employers seek out workers for various tasks. The thought of facing the crowds and the uncertainty is daunting, but you are determined to succeed. You will not return to slavery. You will forge a new life. However difficult it may be finishing your simple meal, you scrape the bowl clean, savoring the last vestiges of flavor. You rinse the bowl and pot with water, placing them carefully back in your chest. As you prepare to leave your room, you take one last look around, a mixture of apprehension and anticipation filling your heart. You are free and the world awaits. One weird Roman belief held that eating beans could cause nightmares, but their affordability often outweighed the risk for the poor. Historians often debate what freedmen ate. Despite limited options, most valued choice and dietary variety to assert their free status. Emerging from your insula into the teeming streets of Rome is like stepping into a different world. The narrow alleyway explodes with sensory overload, a cacophony of sounds, a kaleidoscope of sights, and a pungent blend of smells that assaults your senses. It's overwhelming, disorienting, and exhilarating all at once. the first thing that hits you is the noise. Rome is a city of constant clamor, a symphony of human activity that never seems to cease. Carts rumble over the cobblestones, their iron wheels creating a deafening din. Hawkers shout their wares at the top of their lungs, their voices competing with the bleating of goats, the barking of dogs, and the rhythmic clang of metal from nearby workshops. The air vibrates with the sheer energy of thousands of people living, working, and moving through the city. Then there are the sights. The narrow streets are thronged with people from all walks of life. Senators in their pristine white togas, soldiers in their gleaming armor, merchants in their colorful robes, slaves in their simple tunics, and beggars in their tattered rags. The buildings rise on either side, a jumbled mix of grand temples, ornate villas, and dilapidated insulae, creating a visual tapestry of wealth and poverty, power and decay. Brightly painted signs advertise shops and services, their vibrant colors adding to the visual chaos. The smells are equally intense, a complex and often unpleasant mixture of aromas. The scent of wood smoke hangs heavy in the air, mingling with the stench of unwashed bodies, rotting garbage, and the ever-present odor of urine from the public latrines. The aroma of spices from distant lands wafts from the merchant stalls, competing with the smell of roasting meat from the street vendors and the sweet scent of incense from the nearby temples. You navigate through the throngs of people, your senses on high alert. You're jostled, bumped, and pushed, forced to weave your way through the chaotic streets. You keep a close watch on your purse, wary of pickpockets, who are known to frequent the crowded areas. Despite the discomfort and the danger, there's also a sense of excitement, a feeling of being part of something vast and important. You are in Rome, the center of the world, and you are free to make your own way. As you make your way toward the Forum, you pass a group of children playing in the street, their laughter a bright counterpoint to the city's din. They're playing a game with knuckle bones, tossing them in the air and catching them with practiced skill. You pause for a moment, watching them, a faint smile playing on your lips. It's a reminder of the simple joys of life, the moments of carefree innocence that are so easily forgotten in the struggle for survival. Further down the street, you see a religious procession making its way toward a nearby temple. Priests in their elaborate robes lead the way, chanting hymns and swinging censers that fill the air with the sweet scent of incense. A crowd of onlookers lines the street, their faces filled with reverence and awe. You step aside, watching as the procession passes, a sense of peace and tranquility washing over you. Reaching the Forum, you are confronted with an even greater surge of activity. The vast plaza is filled with people buying, selling, and bartering, their voices creating a deafening roar. Stalls overflow with goods from all over the empire, textiles from Egypt, spices from the East, pottery from Gaul, and wine from Italy. The air is thick with the smell of commerce, a heady mix of opportunity and competition. The labor exchange is located near the edge of the Forum, a designated area where employers and workers gather to negotiate terms of employment. As you approach, you see a crowd of men milling about, their faces etched with hope and anxiety. This is where you will find your opportunity, your chance to prove your worth in this new world. A weird belief says that Romans thought that if you stepped in animal feces, it meant good luck. Historians debate the impact of urbanization on the health of Roman citizens. While cities offered economic opportunities, they also faced challenges such as pollution and disease. The labor exchange is a chaotic scene, a swirling mass of bodies and voices. Freemen mostly, and a few hopeful freedmen like yourself jockey for position, trying to catch the eye of potential employers. The air is thick with sweat and desperation, the scent of cheap wine mingling with the earthy odor of unwashed tunics. It's an intimidating place, a stark reminder of the power dynamics at play. You navigate through the crowd, trying to maintain a sense of composure, but it's difficult. You're jostled and pushed, forced to compete for attention with men who have more experience, better connections, or simply a louder voice. The sting of your former status is palpable. You can feel the subtle glances, the unspoken judgments, the lingering prejudice that clings to you like a shroud. You approach a group of men clustered around a foreman, a burly figure with a booming voice and a whip coiled around his wrist. He's looking for laborers for a construction site, a grueling job that involves hauling stones, mixing mortar, and carrying heavy loads under the scorching sun. It's not glamorous work, but it's honest, and it offers a steady wage, something you desperately need. You push your way to the front of the crowd, trying to catch the foreman's eye. He surveys you with a dismissive glance, his eyes lingering on the calluses on your hands, a testament to your years of forced labor. He asks your name, and you tell him, your voice barely audible above the din. "Freedman, eh?" he says, his voice laced with skepticism. "What makes you think you're fit for this kind of work? It's not for the faint of heart." You stand a little taller, meeting his gaze with a newfound sense of determination. "I've worked harder than most men here," you say, your voice gaining strength. "I'm strong, I'm willing, and I'm not afraid of hard labor." The foreman studies you for a moment, his expression unreadable. Then he lets out a gruff laugh. "All right," he says, "I'll give you a chance. Be at the construction site at dawn tomorrow. If you can keep up, you'll have a job. If not," he trails off, cracking his whip for emphasis. You nod, relief washing over you. It's not a guarantee, but it's an opportunity, a chance to prove yourself. You thank the foreman and step away from the crowd, a sense of cautious optimism filling your heart. You spend the rest of the morning searching for other opportunities, talking to various employers and inquiring about different types of work. You learn that skilled trades, such as carpentry, masonry, and metalworking, offer better wages and more respect, but they also require years of apprenticeship and specialized knowledge, something you lack. You also discover that some employers are hesitant to hire freedmen, preferring to rely on slave labor, which is cheaper and more easily controlled. As the day wears on, you begin to feel discouraged. The labor market is competitive, and the prejudice against freedmen is pervasive. You start to wonder if you made a mistake, if freedom is nothing more than a cruel illusion. One mainstream historical fact is that freedmen were often excluded from holding public office, a reflection of their second-class status in Roman society. Romans commonly believed that certain days were unlucky for starting new ventures, a superstition that added to the anxiety of finding work. Historians debate whether freedmen were truly integrated into Roman society or remained marginalized and stigmatized, the same dust swirling around your worn sandals, kicked up from the forum's cobblestones, coats the lungs of a potter named Lucius, struggling in his cramped workshop a few blocks away. Lucius wasn't born a slave, but sometimes, staring into the white heat of his kiln, he wonders if there's much difference. Lucius inherited his craft from his father, who inherited it from his father before him. For generations, his family has eked out a living crafting simple terracotta pots, oil lamps, and roof tiles for the ever-expanding city of Rome. It's a back-breaking, monotonous job, one that leaves his hands gnarled and cracked, his lungs filled with clay dust, and his spirit weary. He rises before dawn each day, his bones aching from years of hunching over his potter's wheel. The first task is to prepare the clay, a laborious process that involves mixing water and earth, kneading it with his bare feet, and removing any stones or impurities. The clay is cold and damp against his skin, the scent earthy and pungent once the clay is ready. He begins to shape it on the wheel, his hands moving with practiced ease. The wheel spins smoothly, powered by his own foot, as he coaxes the shapeless mass into a variety of forms. He makes simple pots for storing grain, ornate vases for wealthy patrons, and oil lamps for lighting the dark streets of Rome. The work requires immense concentration, a delicate balance of strength and finesse. One wrong move can ruin a piece, sending it collapsing back into a shapeless lump. The pressure is constant, the need to produce enough goods to feed his family, pay his taxes, and keep his small business afloat. The kiln is the heart of his workshop, a brick oven that reaches searing temperatures. Firing the pottery is a delicate process, requiring careful attention to temperature and timing. Too much heat and the pottery will crack or melt. Too little and it will remain soft and fragile. Lucius spends hours tending the kiln, feeding it with wood and charcoal, monitoring the temperature with practiced eyes. The heat is intense, radiating outwards in waves that scorch his skin. Sweat pours down his face, stinging his eyes. The air is thick with smoke and fumes, making it difficult to breathe. He coughs constantly, his lungs burning with each breath. Despite the hardships, Lucius takes pride in his work. He is a craftsman, a skilled artisan who creates objects of beauty and utility. His pottery is used in homes, temples, and public buildings throughout Rome, a testament to his skill and his dedication. But lately, business has been slow. Cheaper pottery from Gaul and Egypt floods the market, undercutting his prices and stealing his customers. The wealthy patrons are demanding more elaborate designs, more exotic materials, something he cannot afford to provide. He feels the pressure mounting, the threat of financial ruin looming over his head. His wife, Livia, works alongside him, helping with the preparation of the clay, the decoration of the pottery, and the management of the business. She is a strong, resourceful woman, but even she is beginning to feel the strain. They argue frequently, their voices sharp with frustration and exhaustion. One evening, as they sit down to a meager meal of bread and lentils, Lucius expresses his doubts. "I don't know how much longer we can keep this up," he says, his voice weary. "The competition is too fierce, the prices are too low. Maybe we should just give up." Livia looks at him, her eyes filled with determination. "We can't give up," she says. "This is our livelihood, our legacy. We have to find a way to survive." She suggests that they try to diversify their products, to create new designs that will appeal to the wealthy patrons. She proposes that they invest in new tools and equipment to improve their efficiency and their quality. She reminds him of the skills and the knowledge that have been passed down through generations of their family. Lucius listens, his spirits slowly lifting. He realizes that Livia is right. They cannot give up. They must find a way to adapt, to innovate, and to persevere. They will face the challenges together, drawing strength from their love, their family, and their craft. The smoke stings his eyes, blurring the vision of his art. Lucius wonders whether the freedmen can see him now, a free potter, but tied to the wheel. One Roman belief says that broken pottery wards off evil spirits. Historians note the economic impact of trade and competition on local artisans. The construction site is a chaotic hive of activity, a testament to Roman engineering and a monument to human toil. As dawn breaks, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, you arrive, joining the throng of laborers already gathered at the foot of a massive stone structure, slowly clawing its way toward the heavens. The air is thick with dust, the gritty particles coating your skin and stinging your eyes. The sound is deafening, a constant barrage of hammering, chiseling, and shouting, punctuated by the rhythmic creak of pulleys and the heavy thud of stones being dropped into place. The smell is overpowering, a mixture of sweat, dirt, and the acrid scent of lime from the mortar assigned to a team hauling stones, a back-breaking task that requires immense strength and endurance. The stones are massive, weighing hundreds of pounds, and they must be dragged from a nearby quarry to the construction site using ropes and wooden rollers. The work is relentless, with barely a moment to rest. The foreman, a hulking figure with a whip always at the ready, drives you and your fellow laborers relentlessly, his booming voice urging you to push harder, to pull faster. The ropes dig into your shoulders, chafing your skin. Your muscles scream in protest, your back aching with each step. Sweat pours down your face, blurring your vision. You stumble and strain, your breath coming in ragged gasps. The sun beats down mercilessly, turning the construction site into a furnace dot. Despite the pain and the exhaustion, you keep pushing forward. You know that your livelihood depends on it, that your chance at freedom hinges on your ability to endure. You focus on the task at hand, ignoring the discomfort, the noise, and the doubts that creep into your mind. You work alongside men from all walks of life, slaves, freedmen, and poor citizens, all united by the common goal of earning a day's wage. You exchange stories, share jokes, and offer each other encouragement. There's a sense of camaraderie, a bond forged in the crucible of hard labor. As the day wears on, the work becomes increasingly difficult. Your muscles are fatigued, your hands are blistered, and your spirit is weary. You begin to doubt your ability to keep up, to wonder if you'll be able to make it through the day. But then you remember your past, the years of forced labor, the beatings, and the deprivation. You remind yourself that you've endured worse, that you're stronger than you think. You summon your remaining strength, digging deep into your reserves of determination. You focus on the rhythm of the work, the pull of the ropes, the creak of the rollers, the steady progress of the stone. You shut out the pain, the exhaustion, and the doubts, focusing only on the task at hand. Finally, as the sun begins to set, the foreman calls a halt to the work. You collapse to the ground, your body trembling with fatigue. You're covered in dirt and sweat, your muscles aching, your hands bleeding. But you've made it through the day, you've proven yourself worthy. The foreman approaches, surveying you with a grudging respect. "You're a strong one," he says, his voice less gruff than before. "You'll do, be here again tomorrow." You nod, relief washing over you. You've earned your place, you've secured your livelihood. You may be exhausted, but you're also proud, a sense of accomplishment filling your heart. As you walk back to your insula, the setting sun casts long shadows across the city, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple. The air is cooler now, carrying the scent of wood smoke and the distant sound of music from a nearby tavern. You may be tired, but you are free. Roman construction projects often relied on a mix of skilled labor and unskilled manual labor, with freedmen often filling the latter roles. One Roman superstition said that finding a stone with a hole in it brought good luck. Historians debate the ethics of Roman construction practices, particularly the use of slave labor. The construction site becomes your world, a brutal but familiar landscape. Each day begins the same. Before dawn, a hasty breakfast of whatever you can afford, then the long walk to the site, the sky slowly lightening as you join the other laborers. The initial exhaustion never quite fades. Instead, it settles into a dull ache that permeates your bones, a constant reminder of the physical toll you're paying for your freedom. You quickly learn the rhythms of the work, the ebb and flow of activity, the unspoken rules and hierarchies that govern the construction site. You learn to anticipate the foreman's commands, to work efficiently alongside your fellow laborers, and to avoid any unnecessary attention. Your hands become tougher, calloused, and scarred from the constant friction of the ropes and the rough surfaces of the stones. Your muscles grow stronger, your back more resilient. You develop a tolerance for the dust, the noise, and the heat, adapting to the harsh conditions. The work remains grueling, but it becomes less daunting, more routine. You find small ways to make it more bearable, taking brief moments to rest in the shade, sharing jokes and stories with your fellow laborers, and focusing on the small milestones that mark the progress of the day. You also begin to learn about the construction process, observing the skilled craftsmen who shape the stones, mix the mortar, and erect the walls. You admire their skill, their precision, and their knowledge. You realize that there's more to construction than just hauling stones. There's artistry, engineering, and a deep understanding of materials and techniques. One day, you strike up a conversation with a stone mason, an older man named Titus who has been working in construction for decades. He's a gruff but kind-hearted man, willing to share his knowledge with anyone who's willing to listen. You ask him about the different types of stone, the techniques for shaping them, and the principles of Roman architecture. Titus is impressed by your curiosity and your willingness to learn. He begins to teach you about the craft, showing you how to select the best stones, how to use the tools, and how to create intricate designs. You spend your breaks with him, listening to his stories and absorbing his knowledge. You discover that you have a natural aptitude for stonemasonry. You enjoy the challenge of shaping the stones, of creating something beautiful and lasting. You find satisfaction in the precision and the detail, the way the stones fit together perfectly, creating a strong and elegant structure. As you learn more about stonemasonry, you begin to see the construction site in a different light. It's no longer just a place of backbreaking labor. It's a place of creativity, innovation, and artistic expression. You begin to take pride in your work, knowing that you're contributing to something that will endure for centuries. You also realize that stonemasonry offers a better path to financial security and social advancement than unskilled labor. Skilled craftsmen earn higher wages, command more respect, and have greater opportunities for advancement. You decide that you want to become a stonemason, to dedicate yourself to this craft, and to build a better future for yourself. A mainstream historical fact is that Roman concrete was a revolutionary material that allowed for the construction of massive and durable structures. Romans thought that if a building collapsed, it was a sign of divine displeasure. Historians debate the social mobility of laborers in Roman society, with some arguing that opportunities for advancement were limited. The transformation from unskilled laborer to apprentice stonemason is gradual but profound. It begins with small acts of initiative, offering to help Titus with his tools, volunteering for extra tasks, and staying late to clean the workshop. You demonstrate your eagerness to learn, your dedication to the craft, and your willingness to work hard. Titus notices your efforts, and he begins to give you more responsibility. He teaches you how to use the various tools, how to sharpen them properly, and how to maintain them in good condition. He explains the different types of stone, their properties, and their uses. He shows you how to measure, cut, and shape the stones with precision and accuracy. You practice diligently, honing your skills and refining your techniques. You spend hours in the workshop, experimenting with different tools and materials, learning from your mistakes, and perfecting your craft. Your hands become more skilled, your eye more discerning, and your touch more confident. The work is still physically demanding, but it's also mentally stimulating. You're no longer just hauling stones. You're creating something, shaping raw materials into works of art. You find satisfaction in the challenge, the creativity, and the skill involved in stonemasonry. As you progress in your apprenticeship, you begin to earn the respect of your fellow craftsmen. They recognize your talent, your dedication, and your willingness to learn. They offer you advice, share their knowledge, and treat you as an equal. You also begin to earn more money, allowing you to improve your living conditions, buy better food, and save for the future. You move out of the cramped insula and into a smaller but more comfortable apartment. You start to dress better, to take more pride in your appearance, and to feel more confident in yourself. Your relationship with Titus deepens. He becomes more than just a mentor. He becomes a friend, a confidant, and a father figure. He shares his life experiences with you, offering advice on everything from business to relationships. You learn from his wisdom, his kindness, and his unwavering commitment to his craft. You also begin to attract the attention of wealthy patrons. They admire your skill, your creativity, and your dedication. They commission you to create sculptures, monuments, and architectural elements for their homes, their temples, and their public buildings. Your reputation grows, your demand increases, and your future becomes more secure. One superstition is that if a stonemason dreamed of building a temple, it meant good fortune. Roman apprentice stonemasons usually started working at a young age, often as early as 12 or 13. Historians debate the role of craftsmanship in Roman society, with some arguing that it was highly valued and others contending that it was seen as inferior to intellectual pursuits. The same dust and stone fragments that cling to your tunic as you learn to carve acanthus leaves on a Corinthian capital also settles on the calloused hands of Aureliia, the baker, as she kneads her daily dough. Aurelia's world is defined by the warmth of her ovens and the yeasty tang of rising bread, a stark contrast to the cold, unyielding stone of your apprenticeship. Yet, like you, she battles daily to carve out her own space in this world. Aureliia inherited the bakery from her late husband, a gruff but hardworking man who taught her everything she knows. Now a widow, she runs the business with a combination of shrewdness and warmth, earning the respect of her customers and the loyalty of her employees. Her day begins long before dawn, when the rest of Rome is still asleep. She rises from her bed, her bones aching from years of standing over hot ovens. She dresses quickly, pulls her hair back into a tight bun, and heads to the bakery. The air inside is cool and dark, the scent of flour and yeast heavy in the air. She starts by stoking the ovens, feeding them with wood and charcoal until they reach the desired temperature. The heat is intense, radiating outwards in waves that scorch her skin. Once the ovens are ready, she begins to prepare the dough, mixing flour, water, salt, and yeast in large wooden troughs. She kneads the dough with her bare hands, her muscles straining with the effort. The dough is heavy and sticky, clinging to her skin. The process is rhythmic and repetitive, but it requires immense skill and attention. She must ensure that the ingredients are properly mixed, that the dough is properly kneaded, and that the ovens are at the right temperature. One mistake can ruin an entire batch of bread, costing her time, money, and customers. As the dough rises, she prepares the other ingredients for her breads and pastries. Olives, herbs, cheeses, and spices. She selects the finest ingredients, ensuring that her products are of the highest quality. She also oversees her employees, a small team of bakers and assistants who help her with the various tasks. She treats them with respect, paying them fair wages and providing them with a supportive working environment. She knows that their success is her success. As the sun begins to rise, the bakery comes alive. The aroma of freshly baked bread fills the air, attracting customers from all over the neighborhood. Aureliia greets each customer with a smile, offering them samples and engaging them in friendly conversation. Her bread is renowned throughout Rome for its flavor, its texture, and its freshness. She uses only the finest ingredients, and she bakes her bread with skill and care. Her customers are loyal, returning day after day for their daily bread. She also makes a variety of pastries, cakes, and sweets, catering to the tastes of her wealthier customers. Her honey cakes are particularly popular, rich and decadent treats that are perfect for special occasions. As the day wears on, the bakery becomes increasingly busy. Customers line up outside the door, eager to purchase their daily bread. Aureliia and her employees work tirelessly, baking, selling, and serving their customers. The work is exhausting, but it's also rewarding. Aureliia takes pride in her craft, in her ability to provide her community with nourishing and delicious food. She knows that she's making a difference in people's lives, one loaf of bread at a time. In the late afternoon, as the sun begins to set, the bakery starts to slow down. Aureliia and her employees clean the ovens, sweep the floors, and prepare for the next day. They share a simple meal together, laughing, joking, and sharing stories. As she walks home, the smells of the day clinging to her clothes. One common Roman belief is that bread placed under a baby's crib would protect it from evil spirits. Roman bakeries were often decorated with images of grain and bread, reflecting the importance of this staple food. Historians debate the social status of bakers in Roman society, with some arguing that they were respected artisans, and others contending that they were seen as common laborers. The sun beats down on the construction site, turning the air thick and heavy. You wipe the sweat from your brow, your muscles aching, your hands raw, but the end is in sight. The temple is nearing completion, its massive columns reaching towards the heavens, its intricate carvings gleaming in the sunlight. As a skilled stonemason, you've played a vital role in this project, shaping the stones, carving the details, and ensuring the structural integrity of the building. You've worked alongside architects, engineers, and other craftsmen, all united by the common goal of creating a masterpiece. You take pride in your work, knowing that you've contributed to something that will endure for centuries, a testament to Roman engineering and artistry. You imagine future generations admiring the temple, marveling at its beauty, and wondering about the men who built it. You've also learned a great deal during your apprenticeship, not just about stonemasonry, but about life. You've learned the importance of hard work, dedication, and perseverance. You've learned the value of collaboration, communication, and respect. You've learned how to overcome challenges, solve problems, and achieve your goals. You've also made some lasting friendships, forming bonds with your fellow craftsmen that will endure long after the temple is completed. You share a common bond, a shared experience of hard work, dedication, and pride in your craft. As the temple nears completion, you begin to think about your future. You've saved a considerable amount of money, enough to start your own business. You have the skills, the knowledge, and the experience to succeed. You have a strong reputation, a network of contacts, and a clear vision for your future. You decide to take the plunge, to leave your apprenticeship and start your own stonemasonry business. It's a daunting decision, filled with uncertainty and risk. But you're confident in your abilities, you're determined to succeed, and you're willing to work hard to achieve your goals. You approach Titus, your mentor and friend, and inform him of your decision. He's proud of your accomplishments, supportive of your aspirations, and willing to help you in any way he can. He offers you advice, provides you with contacts, and promises to recommend you to his wealthy patrons. You thank him for his guidance, his mentorship, and his friendship. You know that you wouldn't be where you are today without his help. You promise to stay in touch, to seek his advice, and to maintain your friendship. The day you leave the construction site is bittersweet. You're excited about your future, but you're also sad to leave behind your fellow craftsmen, the familiar surroundings, and the sense of camaraderie that you've enjoyed for so long. As you walk away, the sun reflects off the temple's gleaming columns, casting long shadows across the city. One superstition about the construction of temples was that a sacrifice was needed to appease the gods. Historians note that temples were often built to honor Roman gods or emperors, serving as both religious and political statements. Setting up your own taberna lapidaria, stonemason's workshop, is a daunting but exhilarating undertaking. You secure a small loan from a local moneylender, enough to rent a modest space in a bustling commercial district. The location is ideal, close to both the quarry and the city center, ensuring easy access to materials and customers. The workshop itself is small and simple, consisting of a single room with a dirt floor, stone walls, and a thatched roof. It's cramped and dusty, but it's your own space, a blank canvas on which you can build your business. You begin by purchasing the necessary tools and equipment: chisels, hammers, saws, levels, and measuring devices. You select high-quality tools, knowing that they're essential for producing high-quality work. You also acquire a small supply of stone, choosing a variety of types and sizes to meet the needs of your potential customers. You spend days cleaning the workshop, organizing the tools, and arranging the stone. You create a display area to showcase your skills, carving intricate designs on small pieces of stone. You also create a sign for your business, a simple but elegant design that features your name and your profession. You hire a small team of assistants, young apprentices eager to learn the craft. You pay them fair wages, treat them with respect, and provide them with a supportive working environment. You remember your own experiences as an apprentice, and you're determined to be a better mentor than Marcus was to you. You begin to market your business, spreading the word among your contacts, advertising in the local marketplace, and soliciting commissions from wealthy patrons. You emphasize your skill, your experience, and your commitment to quality. You also offer competitive prices, knowing that you need to attract customers in order to succeed. The first few months are slow, but you persevere, working hard, promoting your business, and building your reputation. You create beautiful sculptures, elegant monuments, and intricate architectural elements for your customers. You exceed their expectations, earning their trust, and their loyalty. Word of mouth spreads, and your business begins to flourish. You receive more and more commissions, your income increases, and your reputation grows. You hire more assistants, expand your workshop, and invest in better tools and equipment. You become a respected member of the community, known for your skill, your integrity, and your commitment to quality. You contribute to local charities, support public works projects, and serve on community committees. You also remain in close contact with Titus, seeking his advice, sharing your successes, and maintaining your friendship. He's proud of your accomplishments, supportive of your aspirations, and always willing to lend a helping hand. It was believed that the position of the stars was a sign that told them what kind of stone to use. Roman stonemasons often used plumb bobs to ensure that their walls were perfectly vertical. Historians debate whether Roman stonemasons were considered artists or simply skilled laborers, though your taberna thrives, and the city echoes with the ring of your apprentices' chisels. The same sounds, by the way, that resonate from the workshop of Lucius, a bronze smith whose fortunes are as variable as the metal he shapes. Lucius's forge is a world of fire and shadow, a place where raw materials are transformed into works of art and instruments of war. Unlike your ordered rows of stone blocks, Lucius navigates chaos. The acrid smell of molten metal hangs heavy in the air, mingling with the sweat of his brow and the rhythmic clang of his hammer against the anvil. His days are dictated by the demands of his clients, a diverse mix of wealthy patrons, military officials, and everyday citizens. He crafts everything from intricate statues and decorative ornaments to sturdy helmets, breastplates, and spearheads. His skill is renowned throughout the city, but his income is never guaranteed. One day, he receives a commission from a wealthy merchant to create a bronze statue of the goddess Venus for his private garden. The merchant is demanding, insisting on perfection in every detail. Lucius spends weeks sculpting the statue, carefully shaping the bronze, polishing the surface, and adding intricate details. He pours his heart and soul into the project, striving to create a masterpiece that will impress his patron and enhance his reputation. But as he works, he faces numerous challenges: impurities in the metal, imperfections in the casting, and the constant pressure to meet the merchant's exacting standards. He works long hours, often late into the night, fueled by his passion for his craft and his desire to succeed. His wife, a patient and supportive woman named Livia, brings him food and drink, encouraging him to persevere. Finally, after weeks of hard work, the statue is completed. Lucius presents it to the merchant, who is delighted by its beauty and its craftsmanship. He pays Lucius generously, praising his skill and promising to recommend him to his wealthy friends, but Lucius's success is short-lived. The following week, he receives a visit from a Roman official, who informs him that the army needs a large number of helmets and breastplates. The official offers him a contract, but the price is low, barely enough to cover his costs. Lucius is torn. He needs the work, but he doesn't want to accept such a low price. He tries to negotiate, but the official is unyielding. He threatens to take the contract to another bronze smith if Lucius doesn't accept his offer. Lucius reluctantly agrees, knowing that he has no other choice. He spends months fulfilling the contract, working long hours, skimping on materials, and sacrificing his profit margin. The work is grueling, and the pay is meager. He barely makes enough money to support his family. Despite his struggles, Lucius remains committed to his craft. He takes pride in his work, knowing that he's providing valuable services to his community and contributing to the strength of the Roman Empire. He finds satisfaction in transforming raw materials into works of art and instruments of war. One day, a mysterious stranger visits his forge, seeking a unique and powerful weapon. The stranger offers Lucius a fortune to create a sword unlike any other, a sword imbued with magical properties. Lucius is intrigued, but also wary. He knows that magic is dangerous, and he doesn't want to get involved in something that could harm him or his family. Roman bronzesmiths often used wax models to create intricate designs for their castings. One strange Roman belief was that bronze could ward off evil spirits, hence its use in amulets and household objects. Historians debate whether Roman bronzesmiths were considered more skilled than blacksmiths, or vice versa. The seasons turn, and your taberna lapidaria becomes a fixture of the city. You've carved funerary monuments for grieving families, intricate fountains for wealthy villas, and sturdy milestones for newly paved roads. You've even trained a new generation of stonemasons, passing on your skills and your passion for the craft. You visit Pompeii often, not to dwell on the past, but to pay respects to the dead and to honor the memories of those you lost. You've even contributed to the reconstruction efforts, donating your time and your resources to help rebuild the city. You never forget the lessons you learned from the eruption of Vesuvius. You live each day to the fullest, appreciating the simple pleasures of life and cherishing your loved ones. You're grateful for the opportunity to rebuild your life, to build a family, and to contribute to the prosperity of Naples. As you grow older, you begin to reflect on your life, on the challenges you've faced, and on the triumphs you've achieved. You're proud of your accomplishments, grateful for your blessings, and content with your place in the world. You realize that life is a journey, filled with both joy and sorrow, with both success and failure. The key is to persevere, to learn from your mistakes, and to never give up on your dreams. You see that the most important things in life are not wealth, power, or fame, but love, friendship, and community. You also recognize that every human being has dignity, has value, and is worthy of respect. Treat everyone with kindness and generosity. You pass away peacefully in your sleep, surrounded by your loving family and your devoted friends. You leave behind a legacy of hard work, integrity, compassion, and generosity. Roman gravestones often included epitaphs that celebrated the deceased's virtues and accomplishments. Historians note that Roman society placed a high value on honoring ancestors and preserving family memory. And so, the echoes of a stonemason's life fade into the tapestry of time, leaving behind a legacy etched in stone and shaped by the fires of Vesuvius. It's a reminder that even in the face of unimaginable destruction, the human spirit can endure, rebuild, and create lasting beauty. Like the carefully carved acanthus leaves adorning a Corinthian capital, every life, no matter how humble, contributes to the grandeur of civilization. Though empires rise and fall, and volcanoes reshape the landscape, The enduring values of hard work, community, and compassion remain etched in our collective memory. Perhaps, as you drift off to sleep, consider the weight of those ancient stones, the skill of the hands that shaped them, and the enduring power of human creativity. It's a legacy that connects us to the past and inspires us to build a better future, one stone at a time.